Hi guys, welcome back for one more episode. I hope you guys are doing well, and if you're new here, welcome. So, Carola's podcast is a podcast which involves self-improvement, growth, physical, mental health, and will help you to reach your full potential. You guys, I just want to say that now it is 7 a.m. I woke up extra early so I could record this episode, edit, and publish it just because I was doing it yesterday, 11 p.m., but it wasn't good enough just because I wasn't focusing. So I just deleted those 3 episodes that I tried to talk about this topic. But today I decided to wake up extra early. So I'm a little bit tired, but we're gonna do this. I'm gonna make this. So in this episode I'm gonna talk about it is okay to be sad. And I wanted to do this episode because I feel that I was not feeling sad, of course, but I feel that people they don't really think of they see sadness in a bad way. Like sometimes people are sad and they think that it's not okay, and then nobody be sad. Like the celebrities don't be sad and all that. I'm just here to tell you that it is normal to feel sad sometimes, even if you just don't have a reason. If you saw just a video on social media that made you sad, it is okay. I'm gonna start with the first question, which is why is it okay to be sad? Feeling sad is a natural and important part of the human experience. Here are some reasons why it is okay to be sad. Emotional balance. Sadness is a normal response to difficult, painful, or disappointing situations. It helps us process and cope with this experience, contributing to our emotional balance. Reflection and growth. Sadness often encourages introspection and self-reflection. This can lead to personal growth, greater self-awareness, and deeper understanding of our values and desires. I'm just want to talk about this reflection and growth, you guys, that oh my gosh. That usually when I'm sad, I usually reflect too much about my life, and I usually reflect what I'm doing wrong and the things that I want to be good at. So I have this playlist which is called just Dream or Think. And I usually, when I'm feeling sad, I listen to this playlist. And there is music that is nostalgia music that I usually listen and that I think about everything that happened in my life and what I want to be good at. And I was at the moment when I decided to, create this podcast. I was sad. Honestly, I was sad, but because I wanted to create this podcast long ago, but I just didn't have the courage to, start to talk. Well, and then I created this podcast, and honestly, it is, making me feel good. And because at the end of the day, I just want to help people. So that is why I decided to create this podcast. Empathy and connection. Experience sadness can initiate our empathy towards others, fostering a strong connection and relationships. It helps us relate to and support others who are going through similar situations. Motivation for change. Feeling sad can be catalyst for change, motivating us to address the underlying causes of our sadness and make positive changes in our lives. Emotional release. Experience sadness through crying or talking about our feelings can provide an emotional release, reducing stress and improving our overall well-being. You guys, it is people, they have different way to express when they are sad, angry. Me personally, when I'm angry, no, when I'm sad, I usually don't cry. I usually just be serious and just start to think about my life, or like I don't know, I just journal and like talk to God just because I feel it really helped me feel better. But when I'm sad, I usually don't like talk with someone or cry. I usually just be like, you know, I it is it is more likely to me to cry when I'm having anxiety panic than when I'm sad, just because, at the end of the day, I will forget it. Or I just take a nap and then I wake up very glad that I took a nap and then I forgot about it. Anyways, party what? Why did I say party? Part of healing. Sadness is often a necessary part of healing process, particularly after a loss or trauma. It allows us to mourn and gradually come to terms with what has happened. I've been going through much like things in my life, and sadness is a process that I've been going through. Not now, but like when I had this loss and trauma. And I really feel that I'm really better now. And then I came talk about my trauma and my loss, like very, not feeling guilty or like sad. I just can talk about it like it is a normal thing. But I remember when I've gone through my traumas, that I couldn't talk about it. I just couldn't talk about this topic and all that. But I just feel this sad process, the sadness was necessary to me so I could heal inside. I could heal my soul, my peace. So just don't think about sadness of a bad way, because it is people who cry when something good happen. My mom is one of them. When something good happen, she usually cry, because sadness doesn't mean that it's happened something bad about like something bad. But sometimes people just be sad without a reason, and that is okay. Acknowledging and accepting sadness rather than suppressing it leads to healthier emotional function and a more resilient mindset. Why do people what make people hide sadness, and why do people hide sadness so often? People often hide their sadness due to social exceptions, which is society often discourages showing negative emotions. So people have this tendency to hide their sadness, like to even if you see like YouTubers, or like if something said something mean to you, or like some influencer, like celebrity, if someone says something mean to them, they will pretend that they're not like taking this energy, this bad energy to them. But I don't know if you guys saw, but Kylie Jenner, because people is always talking about her looks, and I really feel that people really need to stop, because you never know what it can make to someone, like really, make some bullshit to their life. So just don't, like, if you think that, oh, she did surgery plastics, or like, oh, I don't know the way she looks. Okay, but it's people who think she's pretty. Just don't go out there and start to comment like hating comments, because you never know what is people going through. And that is why I usually, when someone is like saying something mean to me, I usually don't care. I usually just, sometimes they are having a bad day. We never know. So I saw she was crying because people were making not fun, but they were always like saying about her looks that made her change. Personally, I think Kylie Jenner have always been beautiful, without plastic, with plastic. And yes, that is what I wanted to talk about. And then I saw she was crying, and if we didn't saw this episode of her crying about people judging her looks, then we will never know that Kylie Jenner will take this so personally, and that it will affect her in some way. So that is why, just don't make like mean comments in whatever celebrity. Even it's not just celebrating and influencers, it's just like your family, your friends. We never know. Second of all is stigma and shame, fear of being judged and perceived as weak, fear of burdening others, sorry, not waiting to impose on others with their problems. Personal pride, desire to maintain a strong, capable image. And let me tell you, with time, you will be so freaking tired of this personal pride just because you will not be the person that you want to be. And people, because in nowadays, people, if you cry, they will say, oh my gosh, you're so weak, you know. Even though people know it is normal to cry in some situations, but people will pursue you as a weak person. Personally, I really don't have this like. Personally, I don't cry in front of someone. I just don't cry in front of someone. But if I'm feeling sad, I really sad. Why did you say that? You know, what did you say? And then I just cut them off just because I don't want negative person in my life. And one of this is like personal pride. It will make you like seem so strong in front of someone, and then in the end of the day when you go back home you're like crying, you have this breakdown. That is why just don't be someone that you not are. And if you're very emotional, it is okay to be emotional. Nobody, people will judge you, okay, people will judge you, but it is the way you are. You cannot change you for, you cannot accept people's behavior change you. So that is why it is very important to not have this personal pride, just because with time you will not be with this personal pride anymore, with this image. Fear of rejection, concern that expressing sadness will lead to isolation. Fear, yes, fear of fear of rejection is one of the very common fear, you know. And I talked about my last episode was about the fear holding you back, and I talked about the fear, also this fear. Rejection is something that may hurt people so much, because when you people don't accept the way you are, we usually change so people can accept us, so we can go in some group clubs, or like, you know but let me tell you, don't change for so you could be accepted for others, because everyone has this person in the earth. When you feel that like you're not being accepted, it will be one person that really thinks you're cool, and that you're really, cool and kind the way you are, and they will accept you the way you are. You don't need to change anything. You don't need to change the way you are, like your outlooks. You don't need to do this just to be accepted. And let me tell you, it is okay to be rejected sometimes, because I always think if I was a rejection, if I was rejected, it is a redirection from God. So I really like, when someone rejects me, I really don't be like, oh my gosh, I really wanted to be there, I'm gonna change so they will accept me. Honestly, like, I don't even care anymore. Like, I am I and you are you, and I will not change the way I am just to make you sure that I'm not this like boring kid that you think I am. If they think I'm boring, okay, there's people who think I'm cool, I'm funny. People will view differently, and that is why you need to accept sometimes people reject you. Sometimes you are the problem, they are the problem, and they were not meant to be your person. That is why I always think that way. Learned behavior, habitual suppression of emotional from upbringing. Emotional invalidation, past experience of having their feelings dismissed. Usually when people are talking and they feel misunderstood, they have this tendency of like insulate themselves just because, they're not like getting my feelings and they're not understanding me. And let me tell you, start journaling. It is much better. Avoiding confrontation, preventing uncomfortable conversation. Uh-huh. So my best friend, she had like every time I want to have like a deep talk with her, she always like is avoiding it just because she don't like to be in uncomfortable situation. But I always tell her, like, if you don't want to talk about this now, if you don't feel prepared to talk about this, just don't talk about this. Don't talk about this. Just take your time and relax and all that. And I just feel that it is okay to sometimes avoid this, but you cannot avoid this forever, and it's sometimes that you really need to do this. So just don't think about it and talk. And the moment that you're not feeling ready enough to talk about, just don't talk. You say, I'm enough, I don't want to talk about this anymore. Can we change the topic or something like that? And if you have a true friend or if you have a good listener, they will say, yes, of course we can change. But if you're not, they will force you to talk about this and just say, no, I'm not prepared. Professional image. Maintain emotional control in the workplace. Yes. It is common. People don't really show their emotions in their work or in high school, middle school, college, university, whatever you are in. They don't have this, you know, it is not very common to show the emotion, but it is most in the work because people don't want to get judged. And, you know, it can be really hard sometimes to maintain emotional control in the workplace because you're working. So sometimes you cannot stop working and start crying, and feeling sad. No, you can't. How to manage sadness and how to overcome sadness. Managing sadness. Acknowledge your feelings. Accept and recognize your sadness without judgment. When you're feeling sad, accept, no, I'm feeling sad for this and this and this. Don't hide this. It will not make you feel better. Talk to someone. Share your feelings with a trusted friend, family member, or therapist or psychologist. Engage in activities. Do things you enjoy and find relaxing, such as hobbies, sports, or reading. And let me tell you, right now, I really love reading. After I edited this podcast, I really gonna take my breakfast, do my devotional time, and then after I'm just gonna read and relax. Um, yes, I love reading, and one thing that I start to do is taking a walk, and every day, even if it's just like 2,000 steps a day or like 3,000 steps a day, it just make good. It will be good for me. Well, more hobbies. I really like to do arts in my iPad, digital arts. I will feel it's relaxing and all that, and play games. Guys. My friends, they usually say, like, my best friend, she usually says to me, like, have you been a Roblox kid? Oh my gosh, do you play Roblox? And I say, not funny, because Roblox is a very cool thing to play, okay? When I'm feeling like a little bit down, I just want to have a little bit of fun, I usually play games. Not just Roblox, but other games. Um, Practice, okay, exercise. Physical exercise. Physical activity can boost your mood and reduce stress just because you will feel more high and it will reduce your stress, as I said. Practice mindfulness and meditation techniques. Practice mindfulness and meditation techniques like deep breathing and meditation can help manage emotional distress. Maintain a routine. Keep a regular schedule can provide stability and comfort. Express yourself. Write in a journal, create art, play music to express your emotions. Limit negative inputs. Reduce exposure to things that inspired sadness, like certain media or negative people. Seek professional help. If sadness persists, consider talking to a mental health professional like psychologist. Overcoming sadness. Identify the cause, understanding what causing your sadness to address it effectively. Set small goals. Achieving small, measurable tasks to build a sense of accomplishment. Develop a support system. Surround yourself with supportive and positive people. I'm very glad that I really have my family and they're very supportive. And if I do something that was not good, they will always tell me like, "You didn't do this. Why did you do this? That was not good." They always tell me, and they don't hide. Like, if I'm doing wrong, they're always gonna tell me like, "You did wrong." Um, Focus on the positive. Practice gratitude by acknowledging things you are thankful for. I start to practice gratitude. Let me say 1 year ago. No, 2 years ago, 2020. No, in the start of 2023, I started to practice gratitude because you guys, some people when they're sad they have this tendency to say like, I have nothing, I have nothing, I can buy the thing I want, I can do this and that. It is, people, you need to be grateful because you have Wi-Fi there. Listen this podcast, you have, you have smartphones, you have electronics, you have water, you have food. So why are you like complaining about your life? It is people who don't even have water. You have a roof over your head. You have a bed. You have everything. Why are you complaining? It is people who don't even have water. So don't just practice gratitude. I feel it might help you in some way. And be thankful of everything that you have now, because everything that you have now, it is enough for today. Challenge negative thoughts. Replace negative self-talk with positive affirmation. Because when we are sad, we have this tendency to talk shitty things, like our thoughts just be very negative thoughts, and it can make us do some shit just that is not good for us. Make lifestyle changes. Ensure you'll have a balanced diet, adequate sleep, and regular physical activity. Seek new perspectives. Sometimes a change of scenery or new activity can provide a fresh outlook. Learn coping skills. Develop skills to manage stress and emotional challenge effectively. Be patient, understanding that overcoming sadness takes time, and be gentle with yourself during the process. Implementing these strategies can help manage and eventually overcome sadness, leading to improved emotional well-being. And this was the episode, you guys. And let me tell you, it is okay to be sad. You really don't need to stress out just because you're feeling sad, or like because nobody's understanding your emotion. It is okay. And let me tell you, everything will be okay. Everything will fall into place. Just trust in the process. And if you're religious, trust in God. And thank you for listening, you guys. Go check my Instagram down below, which is I'm posting very fun and very cool, pictures. I didn't know how to explain it, but thank you for listening, you guys, and I hope that you really enjoyed this episode. And go listen to other episodes. It might help you in some way. And thank you. See you back in the next episode.